can I vent to you guys for a second? Telling you a long story that most of you won't care about and that the most of the world should not care about anyway. So, where to begin? Like, the story is almost impossible to tell, which is why it hasn't been told. So like 7 months ago, I took down this video from this guy named ChudLogic, right? And I explained the whole story in this 45-minute video. I think it's pretty good. There were details in that at the time, even I didn't know. So basically, the story of ChudLogic is probably over a year ago. There was a dude in my chat spamming, "You should debate ChudLogic, you should debate ChudLogic, you should debate ChudLogic." I don't know who this is. I'm obviously not gonna debate anyone. And it turned out that I talked to this person, because the viewer said that I should talk to this person. So I was like, hey, one of my viewers wants me to debate you on stuff because you were asking about it or something. And so we had a back and forward here where he asked me about whether I think what kind of reaction content he does is permissible, justifiable morally. He says he accepts, of course, that reaction content is bad in the way that I described, because it's obviously true if you've gone through my work. But so I've spent, a couple of paragraphs here explicitly explaining to him why what he does is not something that I consider okay. I had forgotten about this. Oh, okay, this happened November 2022. So I explicitly said to ChudLogic, what you do isn't okay, and I do not give you permission to react to my content. Still then later, he reacts to one of my videos because he thinks it's gonna be funny. Not for any legitimate reason of commentary, and he has no idea what he's talking about the entire video. In fact, the thumbnail of the video looks like this: Raped by Jack. The premise of this video apparently was to answer the question as to whether or not Jack's films personally sexually assaulted me. You can probably understand the kind of quality of content that we're talking about for this video. So obviously, ChudLogic was in the wrong in that he legally doesn't have any right to repost my content on his YouTube channel. In the video itself, he mentions twice that he knew it was illegal what he was doing and he simply didn't care. He had a personal message from me saying, you should not do this. I do not give you permission. I do not believe what you are doing is right. And he stood it anyway. And so I struck his video. Case closed, right? For anyone with any semblance of sense in the world, that's the end of the story. But ChudLogic is a drama YouTuber. A drama YouTuber with connections with some of the slimiest, most terrible people on these platforms. And so for months, he digs up every clip that he can possibly find of me that looks bad and just lies about the context of those clips. He finds every video with anyone ever insulting me and reacts to every single one of those videos. Months crusade to find anything he can on me. This even led to a Kiwi Farms document being made by his viewers so that they could funnel content back to him in which I was doxxed. It's part of the reason why I have more security now. It's because of this fuckwit. But amidst all this, offhandedly, in this video that I made, I mentioned someone called WillyMacShow. So WillyMacShow is one of these cartoonish grifters who is friends with ChudLogic. In fact, as I found out recently, he is in a group of drama YouTubers that all work together to like collaborate and push the same message and attack the same people in particular ways. Mudahaz was in this group, and he's apparently now promoting WillyMacShow, so they're associated as well. But here's ChudLogic down here. Now, of course, WillyMacShow doesn't disclose this association, even when he talks about the situation between me and ChudLogic, because Willy is a liar. But in the video, I referenced how WillyMacShow, for some reason, had been saying entirely false things all over Twitter. Why I lost respect for WillyMacShow. And in this video, I showcased that WillyMac made like a dozen false tweets about this situation, including retweeting misinformation from ChudLogic himself, and he seemed to clearly know nothing about anything that was going on. This pissed off WillyMacShow to no end. What was funny about him being pissed off is that in a live stream later, he admitted that he knew nothing about me.
Had to call you about the Viper stuff. Does he live in Australia, right? He doesn't live in your country, right? So I don't even know what he's had. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get any of this. No, because I don't even know if what you reacted to was fair use. You sent me it, but I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, talking to him makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. I never know what the he's going on about. It is actually like talking to like one of the crazy crackhead homeless people. Yeah, I mean, what kind of content does he even like? I would love to see what his live streams hold.
He does mainly GTA content, I think. GTA speedruns and stuff like that.
Like Let's Play stuff?
Just to be clear, based on the dates of videos releasing, he did at max 3 weeks of research into my career, which is 12 years long. I can almost guarantee he did not spend 3 weeks, but at max, he could have spent 3 weeks. Given that he also made commentary on my entire 33 years of life for some reason, not enough time to learn about a topic you know nothing about. I mean, hey, he is the expert grifter lying on the internet for money, but if I was in his shoes, I would have limited my scope of my video to like 1 or 2 topics rather than like the 30 that he tried to cover in 40 minutes. But hey, when you don't care if you're accurate, it doesn't really matter. He knew nothing about the situation, had not seen ChudLogic's video, and despite that, he was defending Chud because they were friends. Something, again, he doesn't disclose, and again, this will come up in the story a little bit later. So despite not knowing anything about the situation, he says on Twitter that, oh, I'm gonna make a video on this situation between Chud and DarkViperAU. I haven't made up my mind yet about my stance on the issue. So Willy said here, all right, I'm gonna look into this DarkViper stuff. And so Jin here asks which side, and Willy says, depends, haven't decided yet. To which I say, might be the first time I'll get a video about me where someone actually reads and watches my work beforehand. Good luck. Admittedly, would have been nice had you done this before mouthing off on Twitter. Honest of a man to say he didn't look into something before writing about it. Of course lying, because he had made up his mind, he was friends with one of the dudes, and had already been spreading misinformation about the thing for weeks, right? So he makes this video. DarkViperAU won't stop, from React debates to lolcow. And so I watched this video when it came out, and 17 minutes in, I had to stop and think, why is this video so false? At this point, I already knew that Willy was a grifter who was lying. I knew his association with ChudLogic, so he was motivated to lie. I knew he didn't like that I called him out for his previous lies, and so I knew he was going to lie more to defend those lies. But even then, I still didn't understand why it was so false. And the big reason for this is he would say false things that benefited him not at all from saying. It's like there was no practical benefit to the false things he was saying, but he was saying them anyway. Because I had the impression that while WillyMac didn't know much about me, I thought he knew at least something. Because for the previous year and a half, 2 years, he had liked 50 of my tweets, had responded to like a dozen of them. Of all the creators that I knew at the time, he had engaged with my Twitter the most in a positive way. I assumed on that basis that he had at least some like for my content, in the same way that Turkey Tom admitted that he used to like my content quite a bit.
But DarkViperAU is someone with a smaller audience who you may or may not have heard of. He makes a lot of content within the game Grand Theft Auto, and while he's not as popular as Critical, he is a very successful creator in his own right, who does a lot of cool things on YouTube, and he's someone that I watch from time to time.
Until I called him a bastard in DMs, and then he just also started lying. But that's another story. As it turns out, Willy is a person who is a clout chaser in the traditional sense of the word, where it's not just an insult, he actually just follows people that have a lot of viewership and tries to buddy up to them in order to get views. And so the reason he followed me on Twitter and engaged with my stuff so much was in an attempt to get views from me. When he found out that he couldn't get views from me because I didn't respect him, as was in this video, he seemed to conclude, at least that's the only explanation I can think of that explains why this video, that he could just lie about me. So in this video, that was meant to be about defending ChudLogic, he doesn't talk about the situation between me and ChudLogic until like half an hour in large part because ChudLogic was clearly in the fucking wrong. So what he does instead is he goes to archive.org and likely talks to ChudLogic himself and grabs every clip that he possibly can to spam in this video for like 40 minutes. Often repeating the same clip multiple times, never mentioning when these clips happened, why these clips happened, often lying about why those clips exist at all. And that's what this video is. And so I'm watching this video being like, this video can't be responded to. Nothing in it is true. Every sentence uttered, often for dozens of reasons, is false. Sometimes it is Willy knowingly lying in that different statements that he makes can't both be true. Well, he can't believe both are true. One has to be a lie. So you can deduce that he is lying to some degree. Second is he's so ignorant of everything that he speaks on that I would just be explaining things that he doesn't know. And the third is really, really dumb. The two main arguments he uses to dismiss most of what I say about reaction content are one, he doesn't care.
When it comes to React content being the worst because it's stealing impressions from completely unrelated creators, I don't care.
Any argument that he personally doesn't care about is no longer valid if he doesn't care about it. I know that sounds stupid, but he is that dumb. The second, on the basis of seemingly nothing, he argues there is a broad consensus that disagrees with me. And if there's a broad consensus that disagrees with something, it is false. Now, that again may sound stupid because, you're probably a person who's gone through high school and you would know that even if the majority agrees with something, it doesn't make it true. If the majority is against something, it doesn't make it false. That's not an argument.
But as of right now, creators and viewers value the free speech and opinions that come with good reaction content more than they value potentially losing that extra dollar.
Worse, though, how he does this is he just asserts there's a consensus against my positions and therefore I'm wrong. I realized I didn't really cover it much at the time, but one of the most interesting things that Willy does in the video is lie so much to defend ChudLogic, calling him reasonable and everything he does being reasonable, like asking whether Jack's films raped me, perfectly reasonable.
All I wanted to know is if Viper struck Chud and why. He's being so indirect. If Viper just said, because I don't think it's fair use, that would have been a good enough reason for me. Chud's even been reasonable about it.
But here's just a small selection of how Chud acted reasonably when his video got taken down entirely justifiably.
And pay money, pay his good money to get this fucking retarded bitch to file this stupid takedown request, okay? Idiots, total fucking clown show over at that fucking lawyer place. that this lawyer would say this. It has to be that Dark Viper's been like, can you just please make sure that Chud doesn't get this, because it'll just make more content about me. Correct! Here I am, Dark Viper! Let's go! I'm here, baby. I'm here making more content about you, little wretch. The last thing you wanted to happen. I've got no intention of ever watching any Dark Viper content again because he's a litigious little freak. The DMCA request that Dark Viper sent me originally because it was funny and he's pathetic and cringe, and I showed everyone how pathetic and cringe he was. But I'm being very cautious about this, except for fucking shitting on him because it's funny. I'm never going to stop doing that. But this has been fun. It's been fun to go over this, and I think it's pretty clear that this lawyer he's hired is also quite retarded and makes some very fucking weird arguments in this.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
So let's have a look. Oh my god, man, he's such a fucking nerd. Look at this. God, this dude is such a fucking loser. God, this guy's such a fucking loser, man. And the thing is, he can hide behind his fucking retarded opinion on taking an entire video. This guy's such a fucking loser, man.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
What a fucking loser, man. Loser. What a loser. Dude, Dark Viper, you're pathetic, dude. DMCA this, bitch. DMCA this. Oh, wait, you can't because I'm not fucking watching your content at all in this bit, am I? You fucking bitch. What a loser. What a fucking loser. DMCA me, come on. Send some more my way. Let's fucking go, bitch. What a fucking idiot. Ha! Idiot! You're an idiot, Dark Viper. You, bitch. How many videos has this freak got on his channel about bigger creators reacting? Like, you're fucking retarded. What are you trying to say? Okay, so give me an answer then, Fergus. Give me a fucking dollar amount, you retard. In fact, hop into Discord. Hop into fucking Discord and you can explain it to me. Do your fucking little analysis of how much money this has all cost him and what damages are due. You fucking freak.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
Let's go over every embarrassing thing that's ever happened to Dark Viper, shall we? How about that? Should we have a little look at some of the most pathetic things Dark Viper's ever done? What do you reckon? That's going to be fun, isn't it? Looking forward to this. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more to be discovered. And don't worry, guys. I'm committed to this. I will be looking up as much as I possibly can of this guy. And I'm going to be finding every single thing he's ever done that's embarrassing. And I'll be broadcasting it and talking about it, you know?
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
Dark Viper has made it very clear he's a pathetic little wretch when it comes to this stuff. So this is him looking at some gay Reddit video, okay? One of his retarded fans, one of his idiot fans, has put together some stupid, lame edit of him. Right? Oh, I love you so much. We love you, Matt. We fucking love you. Let's put together a bunch of clips of your stream. Oh, we love you so much. It's so brilliant. Okay, anyway.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
Guys, if you can find clips of Dark Viper talking in his videos about not having a life, okay, please, by all means, send it to me. What a pathetic fucking loser, man. Oh my God. No friends. Oh no. What's happening? Oh my God. Oh. What a fucking loser! Oh my god, how pathetic is this guy? He's crying. He's crying because of some gay Reddit video. God, what a pathetic wretch. He's crying. This dude is crying over a fucking Reddit fan video. What else have we got on the agenda? Let's have a little look and keep going.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
I don't know, making fun of a dude crying is pretty low-hanging fruit. Listen, Dark Viper's pathetic. He's a little disgusting rat. And what he does is he's doing this like little ratty DMCA thing because he thought he could squash me privately, right? Not only did it not work, but he's enraged the beast that has been fucking locked away for a little while because nothing like this has really happened for a little while, right? People have accused me of drama farming. Yes, I'm taking fucking advantage of this. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. I don't want the hassle of all this nonsense, right? In terms of like DMCA and copyright and law, I was just doing my thing. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed. I'm a little bit mad, okay? I'm a little bit peeved about the situation.
Chud's even been reasonable about it.
Cry, bitch. Cry. The tears are only just beginning, motherfucker. I will find any possible clip of them looking terrible, mock it and laugh at it. That is now the plan. This could be one of the most pathetic specimens I've ever come across. This is brilliant. Anyway, Jesus Christ, man. I'm going to spend my whole stream hating on Dark Viper. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend the next 3 weeks digging up every single embarrassing thing that Dark Viper has ever done publicly and making content out of it. No, I'm not really going to do that, okay? We'll probably just cut some videos from this, I think.
Just to be clear, he made dozens more videos that I didn't bother looking at because it doesn't matter. Like, even a small sample here. This is what Willy means when he says, DarkViper is not reasonable, but ChudLogic is. I do not act enough like ChudLogic, therefore I am not reasonable.
Obviously, you know, I am biased because I do react to things. I, you know, feel I do a fair use job, even though not legally, but ethically, I kind of react to stuff pretty heavily. Because legally, I think that all of them fall under the same issue with, you know, full reacting to the content that exists. Like, if you watch a 30-second TikTok, right? I don't think that's a big deal, and I think ethically or morally, it's not that bit crazy a thing. But from an IP perspective, you have breached that person's IP, and they could legitimately file a DMCA request against you if they wanted to. Same with Asmongold Reacts. Yes, he talks a lot, but it includes the entire video.
Again, there was so much I could say about this video. I tried. I spent like 3 days writing a script to debunk this video. But I recognized, as you can probably see now, I am a terrible speaker. You see me when I'm making intros and stuff and I'm reading from a WordPad, and it often takes me like 10 tries to get out a couple of sentences scripted in perfect fluency. I realized that I had written so much that it would take literally months for me to explain through a scripted thing why this video is false, in all the ways that it is false. Because I'm not a person who likes to half-ass anything, as I'm half-assing this story now. And I knew I couldn't do it, and that really annoyed me. But for business reasons and emotional reasons, I should just let this go. Just accept that a person like WillyMacShow will lie openly and not care what is true for money. And it's just a corner of the internet that exists that there's nothing I can do about, but it annoys me. And apparently this dude feels like he's made at least enough money of a return on investment for the like 15 seconds he spent making this video. Because, you know, if you don't care what's true, you can just make up shit till the cows come home. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a second video. Good money. Like, when you're not bound by reality, you can of course just fire out video after video on the same person because you can just make up shit. And the people who he speaks to know so little that they can't deduce for themselves that this stuff is false. He will say a lie, show a 5-second clip that does nothing to substantiate that lie, both ultimately therefore being lies, is because one's missing a wide host of context that is explicitly excluded, and the other just being something he made up. And you look at that and go, well, neither of those two things are supporting each other. Surely then there's something going on here false. But people don't, because they don't really care. The story that WillyMacShow has constructed is more interesting to people than the actual truth. And so there's nothing I can do. So I'm trying to tack into this video stuff that I don't think is gonna come up in the next video. I wanna showcase how brazenly these guys lie and how low their standard of evidence is. It's not just WillyMacShow, it's not just ChudLogic, it's an entire support group of these drama creators who do not care if what they're saying is true, they're just trying to make videos as fast as possible. So Nicholas DeOrio says here, this guy has actually become a total lolcow. Someone told me he was showing off his girlfriend to own the haters, got her doxxed, and then made a video crying about the people who did it. What the fuck is happening? So this is the video he's linking here. And those who actually know my content are gonna notice something very immediate here. Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Legacy Rambles, where Legacy Rambles are years old, from my main channel, long before I met Aitana. It is literally impossible for this video to contain information about Aitana because the footage came from before I even knew her. I have never shown off Aitana to own haters, I don't care. We do the Instagram content because I like doing it and it's good for taxes. And she was an Instagram person way back when, so she can help me with it. Got her doxxed? I didn't know she got doxxed. When did this happen? I mean, she lives with me now, so I guess she's being doxxed vicariously because these assholes are partly responsible for me getting doxxed. But this video is nothing about this. Everything here is false. It starts with Nicholas saying, someone told me. At best, this is Nicholas being like, look, anything I hear in the world is instantly true if someone tells it to me. I'm gonna put it on my Twitter. You need to understand, people watch these guys and actually believe the things that they say. As you probably know, I'm a bit of a workaholic. I am very passionate about what I do, so unless I have a good reason not to, I will spend every waking moment working, as I have done for countless years. However, this changed at the start of this year when I met someone and fell in love. One huge perk of this is that she is someone who makes traveling incredibly fun, in part because she not only loves organizing trips, but she is already very well traveled and so knows best how to travel and to where. The result is that this year I went to far more places and events, often making these trips into content exclusively for Instagram. This is content that you are missing out on unless you go over to Instagram and follow me right now.
Excellent start.
You will get to see footage of my adventures with Aitana, when I hang out with my YouTube creator friends, and when I meet my fans at conventions. You will also learn about all the best places to go in Sydney, Australia, where I live, as well as come with me to see the most beautiful sights the world has to offer. I'm planning to go on a snow trip, as well as a trip to Fiji, and I'm even going to Japan with a few creators that you might know. It is easily my most active secondary social media, and you guys in the comments are often hilarious. It is literally just free additional content for you, and I plan to make as much of it as makes sense before GTA 6 comes out and I never leave this room again. So again, follow me on Instagram, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Like, I know for a fact, if I spent all that time debunking this video, I'd get like 150,000 views. Maybe like 20% of people get to the end. The thing I think that convinced me of that so much was that video I made on Gabby Bell. So this video almost has 500,000 views, showcases that video this terrible creator made was full of lies, stuff that she knew was lies, manipulated text, terribly argued, and she is still as successful as she was back when I made this video. The one thing that dishonest people have over people like me who try to be honest is that they know what they're doing, and so they can very easily ignore when they're called out for being liars. Gabby's like, yeah, this DarkViper guy called me out for lying, who fucking cares? And she just continues on in her career, never acknowledges it. 500,000 views, it does not impact her career at all, in the same way that WillyMacShow's video of him lying for 40 minutes didn't impact me at all. The sort of people who are going to believe something this false don't watch my stuff anyway. But this is the sort of content I used to make back in the day. Holy shit, like guys, in the video, there are points where he makes claims, then shows a clip that immediately debunks that claim.
Viper said Ethan memeing him saying 14 pages has traumatized him.
It's 14 pages!
Because one of my favorite people on the internet, DarkViper, 14 pages!
I don't think Ethan is a very good person, and his using a soundbite of one of the most traumatic, angry moments of my entire life for many, many years on his stream, perhaps 100 times, is a bit more than excessive and very sick.
Why was this traumatic for you? You're angry over nothing.
Like, how was that not interesting to people? It's just so impressively stupid and so impressively false. There are parts in it where, like, I am saying one thing, the person I'm responding to is agreeing with that thing, and Willy has come back like 4 years later and said, hey, they're both wrong. To be clear, even after Willy made his video, it's not like he stopped spreading bullshit, because he just goes on. These are just tweets about me, by the way. I blocked the dude, and he just still goes on and on. I have to speed this up a bit. Like, there's just months of tweets over and over, just whining incessantly, just cannot stop talking about me. To say he's obsessed with me because he's tweeted about me like hundreds of times, it would be a little bit inaccurate, because he's obsessed with like anything that he can spam out to get a bit of engagement. He at some point was like 30 tweets a day for an entire month. The man is nuts. What I've been thinking about doing is, as you guys know, I hold the position in regards to React content that if you're reacting to something that you've already seen before and directly involves you, that it's fine to do. Because obviously every bit of the video you have some invested interest in because it's about you, and you are knowledgeable in it because of course you've seen it before and you're the one being talked about. I'm thinking about debunking this video live. See, but the thing about this, I hate half-assing things. Like, you gotta understand, it's dozens of, I don't even want to show you my notes because it's just so embarrassing. There's like, the amount of notes I've collected since I made those videos about reaction content, so many examples of different events and stories and people saying certain things, even just in discourse and stuff, like it's, and I know doing it live, I would never do it justice. I could absolutely destroy Willy. And I think that might be why, like because by now he must know that a significant portion of this video is false. There's no way he doesn't. As in, he knowingly lied, but I doubt he realized how much of his video was false. And that's probably why he wants to make the second video, so he can kind of cover his ass. But do I care? Like, why? Like, I have so little time to do stuff that I gave up on the Rambles channel. Although, to be fair, I am bringing back the Rambles channel on the main channel. It'll be like a long form video at the end of the month. It'll actually probably come out today or tomorrow. Why would you want to even bring any attention to it if it's such BS? I don't think anyone that I can lead to this video wouldn't realize immediately that the video is false. You guys know enough about me. Even people who've been following me for like a week would know enough about me to know this video is false, at least to some degree. Those who've known me for a longer period would be able to go, oh, actually, I was there for that. That's entirely false. I was there for that. That's entirely false. No amount of attention from me really impacts the situation at all. I personally have talked about all these situations dozens of times, but I've actually talked about them, unlike what Willy did, which is just lie about them. I want to make an iceberg where I talk about my entire history, every controversy, everything I've ever done. And there's a huge list of that. Like, there's no amount of me that is ashamed or wants to hide certain things. I talk about them all the time. Willy, of course, doesn't disclose that. In the same way he doesn't disclose when any of these events actually fucking happened. So when this video came out, I'm getting spammed about things that happened 7 fucking years ago. Because that's just one of the ways that Willy was so dishonest in his video, where he mentioned nothing about the dates of when things happened or who was actually involved in any situation. He just made shit up. Okay, again, that's reductive because a lot of it he was just ignorant that he was saying false things, but he did in many cases actually lie. And it led to a surprising amount of grifters realizing they could also get some views by making one of these quick videos where they just parody the lies as well. A part of me is concerned, guys, that my legacy is going to be defined by grifters like WillyMacShow. That someone at the end of my career is going to try and make a downfall video, or at least like a history video of DarkViperAU. But a person who could be legitimately honest and that they want to know the truth would end up going to a WillyMacShow video and believing the false things that he says. That often what's being discussed is so old that all the people involved aren't even on the internet anymore. The original discussion of events back then doesn't exist, which of course was in WillyMac's favor because it enabled him just to make up whatever the fuck he wanted. But for a person who's actually genuinely wants to know the truth, I don't think that information exists anymore. Like, my DMs here with ChudLogic, like, sinks him immediately. I didn't even know these existed. Okay, he was already sunk immediately before in that he conceded twice that he had no legal right to do what he did. But this just makes it even worse. But of course, that's not gonna matter to people. Like, I recognize that the people who watch these kind of videos do not care what is true. But in the future, there could be people who actually want to know what is true and they won't know it. They won't know WillyMacShow's history of how he is just a grifter who was so engaged with my content on Twitter for so long in a positive way until the very moment I criticized him for lying, and then immediately he starts spamming out this video in a form of tantrum. This video exists entirely because I called him out for lying. That's it. This was his revenge. And what does a liar do when they're caught out for lying? They just lie more. Like, I've even got it saved, a snapshot of his Twitter to show that he was just liking all my posts all the fucking time. But that's not anywhere on the internet. Best to make your statement saying it's not true and proving that than going after them. It just creates more hate. What's that expression? A lie said in 5 seconds can take like 20 minutes to debunk. Willy doesn't argue or present evidence for anything he says in this video. It is 40 minutes of direct claims. Each one itself could be a video, right? I thought I had time when I make the iceberg to like actually lay out an entire story. Any response I make is just going to be inferior to an actual expose of my career, which I wanted to do with the iceberg video. You have to think about the opportunity costs. Yes, you have this deep down desire to prove these people wrong, but there will always be more of these people who will be inclined to respond to. You can't do it forever. All that time could be otherwise spent staying in your lane and concentrating on producing the best content you can that you enjoy creating. Exactly, RBS. Like, I've got countless things that I'm meant to be doing with my time. Every single day I even listed recently most of the things I was working on, right? This isn't even everything that I've got working on right now. Actually, a few of these things have now released. This was 3 weeks ago. But like, I don't have an extra couple of hours in my day to debunk the latest grifter, right? Like, Willy on average tweets like 15 times a fucking day, and he's on Reddit as well. If he wants to make another video where he just lies a bunch of times, he just takes a day off Twitter, writes fan fiction that he doesn't argue for, and then just makes a video on it. Like, I've got to forego, potentially half a dozen videos, thousands of dollars, to make a video that is going to be worse than any other video that I normally make. But lying for ad revenue is in his wheelhouse. This is literally what he does for a living. I am bursting a professional. And what sucks is, like, even Aitana, because it's not just her. Like, I will speak to other creators, and we will talk about what to do when the WillyMac shows of the world just start lying about shit. And the response from me and everyone else is always, you should say nothing. Because we know anyone invests enough in this, in the narrative produced by these grifters, isn't gonna care what the person has to say, especially if it creates a less interesting story. But I can't seem to take my own advice because I just hate injustice. I hate liars. I hate cheaters. I hate people who cheat systems. I hate people who take advantage of others. And it's caused me problems my entire fucking career. Nobody cares what he does anyway. It's just normal YouTube BS. Nobody pays attention to it. Some people do, but they're usually like the bottom of the barrel weirdos, right? The reason why my beef with Charlie was actually significant, and I responded to it immediately, even though I was extraordinarily angry at the time, justifiably, is because those were normal people. No one who is watching videos like this is a normal, functioning human being in society. Some people lie for their own benefit. Don't waste your time and energy being upset at unreasonable people. It ain't worth it, but it's just gonna keep happening. I like doing good in the world, chat, and I feel like to some degree I've stopped doing that because it just takes too much effort and I'm so busy with my work. Surely there is some value in showing that WillyMacShow is a liar who does not care what is true. Like, surely, like, there are gonna be people in the future that he will also lie about that I can go, hey, look, or other people can point to my video, hey, look, WillyMacShow lied before, he's probably lying again. Surely there's value there, right? I would tell you I was a fan of WillyMacShow until I saw him lying fervently about you. There is some you would sway with by your argumentation, a minority, but people are the same. Exactly, but is it worth the time? Like, to be clear, people who are even vaguely in the know have obviously left comments saying this video is shit. Bad video. Holy shit, this video is bad. I just searched for bad, but like there's more nuanced comments saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but they're just comments from one person. And as I showed before, there is information that I have that utterly destroys Willy that most people have not seen. But this is ultimately a random fuckwit on the internet who's lying for ad revenue. I just feel like I've changed so much as a person, trying to not care about the wider world outside of myself. It's a video about you, you're allowed to dress it. If addressing it makes you happy, then there is value in it. But doing other things will make me even more happy. It's everything has opportunity cost. What would make me happiest is to spend a month detailing everything perfectly, voicing everything perfectly, a whole expose showing how much he lied and how much he got wrong. And every day, Aitana would look at me and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? As she has said before, why are you giving any of these people any time of day? They are obviously dumb. You know they're dumb. You know they're dishonest. You know they're lying. So why does it matter? And it keeps coming back to it. I do not like liars. I do not like cheaters. I do not like those who perpetuate injustice. And I think taking the attitude that I am, which is just, well, nothing you can do about it, I think is what ultimately makes the world a worse place. The reason why the WillyMac shows can get some foothold in the world is because people like me do nothing. Evil wins when good people do nothing. As any of you have probably come to understand, being a good person takes a lot more effort than being a bad person. A person indifferent to the truth, indifferent to how what they're doing can negatively impact other people, can do 1,000 things in a day, while a good person sitting there wondering about the implications of their next action. It just sucks. It's the worst aspect of life, in that it has so many other negative ramifications that leads to all the other bad things in life.
Wait for the inevitable internet anarchist video. He is a big enough creator that making a video in response to him and piling in all the other grifters can be justified from a business perspective. There will be no I could be making a different video guilt, because it is a video that should do good numbers.
Corey is my editor, and he's obviously right. I talked about that before, I think. I still think that's wrong. Internet anarchist isn't worth it either. Nah, but at that point, it like, from business-wise, there's enough growth and money in that any considerations for my other content are irrelevant at that point. Because it will actually be a video that people will watch and find engaging enough for the growth and whatever, and the editor's time to be actually worth it. Like, that was one of my original plans, was to make my iceberg video and just periodically throw out the video being like, hey, by the way, this is one of those things that WillyMacShow lied about, and just continuing, right? Which is not that overt, right? But being like, this was included because X, Y, and Z grifter said these false things before. It's always important to remember, guys, that you know that Willy is wrong because you know me to some degree. You might know, like, there's no way you know every single story that he lied about in his video. But watching it, you'd be like, wait a second, I heard about that. I was there for that. This is false. Holy shit, everything else in this video is going to be false. But there are people who know literally nothing about me, or whose entire impression of me comes through this lying grifter. The problem with thinking this way is this platform has billions of people. It doesn't matter what I do or say or where, there is going to be people who, even prior to knowing me at all or knowing my content, end up receiving a false impression of me. It's just unavoidable. If you start trying to stop that to some degree, you just end up not making the content that normally brings you people in the first place. As I said to all those people who lied and said the reason why I made those anti-react videos is to develop an audience, making just a normal video leads to me getting more viewers than just any other commentary video that I do. Especially those that take a lot of my time. Fuck, I would have done Red Dead Redemption 2 speedrunning, but no, I got in drama. Maybe Passes 2.0 would have actually come out a million years ago, but no, I made those react videos. Oh, those anti-react videos. But I'm not a machine, guys. I am not a machine. I do not like to be lied about. I think in this business, it helps to just be entirely detached. To think of it, like seemingly as Willy does, as just a magical fantasy world that you can just throw out lies into or not care about what's true. Like, if you can disconnect from it and treat it like it's a game or something, then obviously you're gonna be better off, but I've never been that way. There is no separation between DarkViperAU and Matthew Judge. They're one and the same to me. So I can't just look at it and go, lol, thousands of people have been misled about DarkViperAU, but me, Matthew Judge, who cares? Because I put so much of me personally into my work.
One video to settle it and be done, not giving up, just ending it and moving on.
It's funny because I've said the exact same things to Aitana. But she's right in that she fired back and said, it will never end, man. In the same way what I'm doing here, she would look at me and go, what are you doing? They're just gonna lie. They're gonna take this video, or this ramble, and like crop out individual words, make something else out of it, and lie more. In the same way, Willy is like, hey, wait a second, I got 200,000 views making up a story that took no fucking time to make because I just lied the entire time. He's like, hey, I can do it again. 200,000 views. He can do it in a day. Just writes one more fan fiction, and that's just money in the bank. Once they realize they can do this, they will never stop. There is nothing in Willy's video where the evidence doesn't already exist that he's wrong, that he's lying. There is more evidence, again, as I showed in DMs and stuff, that I have that other people don't, but there's enough already that you can, if you really want to, do the legwork and find out that he's lying. But no one does, because no one cares. So the next time he makes a video lying again, people are just gonna go, oh, this must all be true. There may be some of you who stumbled across the video and go, this is all false, what the fuck is wrong with you? But you're just gonna be called out and be like, you're a stan or whatever the fuck people are using these days. And that you'll just be dismissed. So none of it matters. It is just an annoying aspect of life that people can do this, and you just have to grit your teeth and bear it.
What about all publicity is good publicity?
It's not true though. Making a video debunking WillyMacShow undeniably would bring me new viewers. People like, oh, I had no idea. In the same way that Willy lost subscribers when he made his fucking video, because it showed to a lot of people, at least people who knew of me, that he's a liar and a grifter. But I can get more publicity making my normal videos than I can debunking Willy, because it would just take so much fucking time. But again, one of the most annoying things here is finding out that Mudaha is involved in collaborating with and promoting these grifters. Well, one of my mods said he was hanging around with the quartering. Remember that guy I called a disingenuous, dense motherfucker? Hanging around with Turkey Tom, holy shit. And now he's like promoting WillyMac in his videos? What happened to Mudaha in the last couple of years?
General. So again, if you want to check it out, WillyMac's video is great. He covers this topic. I would highly recommend you see this to see actual proper journalism and an actual proper objective coverage of the situation.
Journalism from WillyMacShow. Like, did I miss the hot minute where Mudaha's just like, you know, people have been calling me a drama YouTuber for ages. I don't like that. Like, I don't like being called that, but fuck it, I'm gonna become one. What happened? Willy's source in like this entire video is, I don't know, I learned about it in a dream. I made it the fuck up. Man literally went to archive.org, downloaded videos and clips, and went, I have no idea what these clips mean. Here is a random sentence that has nothing to do with it. And this is proper journalism? Unbelievable. When we're done with Red Dead Redemption 1, I'm gonna grab some notes. I'll go through my notes and get like examples of things, and I'll like freestyle explaining all the false things in this video. I don't care, well, I don't care. I'm over it. I want this grifter to have some sort of repercussions for his lies. It won't be much. It won't impact him at all in the grand scheme of things, in the same way it didn't impact Gabby Bell when she did the same kind of shit. Which actually is kind of funny because a lot of the same false claims that Willy makes in the Gabby Bell video, I also debunk. As in, like, I could, for at least the first like third of it, just use clips from me debunking Gabby Bell to debunk Willy. Because it would have saved us both some time had Willy actually watched my videos responding to people, but apparently he didn't. But we have time before GTA 6, guys, where I can do this shit. I promise you have way more supporters than those losers do. Oh, I'm well aware. To be honest, Muda isn't a good person. I see him as the leech of YouTube, IMO. He doesn't make any original content, and most of his content is faked. Didn't used to be that way. Finding out about this fucking knitting circle was like the last nail in the coffin for me treating Mudaha as a different person from these other degenerates that just lie for money. So I was talking to Pez. I've known him since like 2017. He's in the industry. And he says to me, I like that you just don't take shit, that you call out people for saying false things and like you hit back at people and stuff. And I looked at this and I'm like, I don't really do that anymore. Of all the things that people accuse me of in regards to like changing or becoming more corporate or only caring about the algorithm and stuff, a lot of that is false. But the one thing that I can argue is probably true for is the way that I've changed in regards to responding to falsehoods. I found it so ineffective in so many different instances in the past. But back in the day, I'm like putting on gloves. I'm throwing hands about every minor issue to disprove what other people are saying. But now I'm just like, I'm too fucking old. Like WillyMacShow will exist for a couple of years. He'll fade out and there'll be another generation of grifters. And I'll be like, oh, look, it's the next WillyMacShow. Like, surely if I didn't take the time to write a script and we just like at the beginning of a stream or at the end of a stream, just like cracked into one of these videos and showed them as liars. But see, the problem with that is these guys are hypocrites, right? They would 100% strike those videos. Even though it's not against my positions I've espoused. I'm doing it again. I'm pretending like any of these people actually care what my positions are. Like, Willy had heard a summary from my own mouth of my own positions. He excluded that from his video and made up his own that is debunked, like, by a bit of footage directly after something else that he included in his video. Like, so he has seen multiple refutations of his false summation of my views, but he just made up shit anyway, which he so often did. Where he's like, well, I don't have DarkViperAU saying this, but I'm just gonna say he said it, and people are gonna believe me. What if we made this a trilogy like I did in the past? The last one, chat. The last trilogy. Debunking a grifter. This will be like the prelude, explaining my thoughts, why it took so long, and then the next one we can actually dig deep. Okay, Red Dead 1.